Hello and welcome to Motors for the Masses, and today we have a battle of the boxers. Auto versus manual, scooter versus bike, and we're going to see which one is the better choice, in my opinion, of course. So let's roll the intro and get cracking. Now, when this idea first came to mind, I thought, where can I go to find two bikes with a similar CC that's going to be a comparison between auto and manual? Well, I ended up here, Superbike Warehouse, to have a look, see what they got, and I think I've come up with two perfect contenders. Let's go and take a look. In the modern world of biking, scooters over 125cc are no longer just big, bulky slouch couches only reserved for people that can't ride motorbikes or tend to not be able to do the gear thing. They are funky, different, interesting, and also sporty. And that's why we're doing this head-to-head today. So then let's meet today's contenders. Quite literally, in the red corner we have the 2021 Honda NC750, and in the blue corner we have the 2019 Honda NC750X A-K without the DCT gearbox. So let's meet them a bit closer and see what they're all about. I will from the off put up the specs of both bikes so you can see how they compare on paper, but both bikes have 54 brake horsepower and 50 pounds-foot of torque from their 745cc parallel twin 8-valve single overhead cam engines. Both bikes have 6 gears, although this one doesn't have a clutch. The blue NC uses 41mm right way up forks, whereas the red XADV uses 41mm upside down adjustable forks. And both bikes use a Pro-Link rear suspension with a monoshock. The NC has a wet weight of 217 kilos, whereas the ADV is 236 kilos wet. Both bikes use a 120/17 front tyre, although the ADV is a little bit more blocky, being the XADV. And both bikes have a 160 back tyre, although the NC is on a 17-inch wheel and the XADV is on a 15-inch wheel, being a scooter. They tend to be a little bit smaller usually. The XADV has a 13.2 litre fuel tank, whereas the NC has a 14.1 litre fuel tank, but it's not where you might think it is. The NC uses a single 296mm front disc, whereas the XADV uses two 320mm front discs. And both bikes use a single 240mm rear disc. And both being Hondas, of course, means both bikes use Nissan brakes and have ABS, obviously. The NC is said to do 67 miles to the gallon with a CO2 of 81 grams per kilometre. Whereas the XADV has an on-paper MPG figure of 78 and is said to have 85 grams of CO2s knocking around it, which is one more Christmas tree dead over the NC. The NC is half an inch longer, so that's better, right? And the XADV is 105mm fatter, but it's 20mm taller and 54mm longer in the wheelbase, but both bikes have a ground clearance of 165mm. But who cares about all that bollocks? Let's see what they're like to ride. Right, so we are off on the XADV first. Now, just to put it in gear, you just push this D button, clicks into gear, and away we go. And that's it. It goes into gear. That's weird. It is odd that such a powerful bike doesn't have gears. Well, it does, but it doesn't have a clutch. I mean, it's not difficult. It's very, very simple to ride. And initial thoughts, it's unbelievably smooth. I mean, we'll see what the gear change is like when we're on it, whether it lunges or whether it changes smoothly. Good indicator action. Well, I'm quite impressed so far. Take it up the dual carriageway and see what it's like at 50. And bearing in mind the tyres are cold, so I've got to take it easy on the corners to start with, but you can feel the weight of it. But it's got some poke. Oh, and it's got a little bit of poke. It's not a rocket ship, but it's smooth. Well, I'm going to put it in sport mode in a minute and see what difference that makes. But so far, you can feel that throbbing engine beneath you. It's very comfortable. Good visibility out of the mirrors, probably about 85% visibility and 15% arm. But it's not bad. It's certainly comfortable. As I say, it feels weird having my legs either side further forward. It's like I should be on a slightly taller chopper or bobber. But I'm going to slow it down to 30, see what the automatic thing does. Just open it up and see how it gets to 50. I mean, yeah, it's okay. It's not a rocket ship, as I say. I'm going to put it in sport mode, slow it down to 30, and then I'm going to open it up and see what it does. A little bit quicker, again, not a rocket ship, but it's a little bit quicker. I mean, you can feel its revs a bit higher in sport mode, so put it back into drive, and it's nice and smooth and serene. I quite like the dash, although it's very busy. You've got a lot going on there. You've got the miles per gallon up the top. I'm guessing that's traction control, level 1, and then push the button on here. Level 2 traction control if you want to take it off-road. Push and hold it to take the contraction control off. Contraction control, which is like traction control, but you're having a baby at the same time. Hold it again to put it back on. I'm going to have to Google what that G button does, because it puts a G on there and I'm not quite sure what it is, and I haven't Googled it yet. I want to get out on this and see what it was like. But I will find out in a minute what the G does. The date and time haven't been set because this has got a brand new battery on it. You can feel the weight when it goes around a corner, but it's not horrendous. Not like you've got to, but definitely feel the weight. You certainly easily get used to the fact that you don't have to change gear quite quickly. It's very nicely balanced, I will say. So if I go slow and turn corners, I've got no issues with worrying about having to put my feet down. And I'm going to turn around in a minute. It's a nice wide road, so it should be fine anyway, but I'm just going to turn around slowly and see how this fares. Nothing behind me, nothing coming the other way. Oh, simple. I mean, yes, I did take the whole road up, mostly because of the weight. The weight does need a little bit extra care in turning, I would say, but it does it smoothly. Let's go down the main dual carriageway and see what it's like at 70, shall we? And then come back through the country roads. But so far, the gear change is smooth enough. I don't know if when you're on the speed, if that gear change is going to be different. Wait till the entire world comes around this roundabout, of course. Oh, there's a gap, go. Oh, okay, you're going that way, yeah? It's smooth, it doesn't feel like it's going to jerk when I go around bends or anything. No? Alright, up yours. I've noticed a lot of people don't nod anymore, especially, I'm on a scooter, aren't I? Perhaps that's why. Perhaps they think I'm a 125 learner or something. Even getting out of the car park, 3 people came up to me and went, "What is that? Didn't sound like a 125. No, it's not. So you instantly see a scooter and think, it should be a 125. But it isn't. I mean, there's not a huge amount to say about it, to be honest. The brakes feel nice and sharp. It's smooth. The gear change is quite nice. Brakes are very good. This will be interesting. Pull away from the lights and see whether it does it sharply. Let's put it in sport mode, shall we? See if it does it sharply or slowly. I mean, it's no slouch, I'll give it that. It comes off the line pretty sharply, but it's not rapid enough to bring the front wheel up, not at all. Oh, P100. That's a Vauxhall. Okay. Might have been a Holden. Anyway, yeah, so it's not going to rip your arms off, but it's decent enough. Oh, here we go. I went with a red light with your kid not sitting in a seat with a seat belt. Excellent, well done. When you pull away gingerly, it's really smooth. As I say, you can feel that bit of weight when you take it round the corner. So I'm going to sit here about 40, let this guy pass because he's obviously desperate to get past me, look. It's a 40-mile-an-hour limit, mate. It's a 40-mile-an-hour limit, mate. And then what we'll do, when we get to the national speed limit, we shall open it up and see what it does to 70. In sport mode, 40-mile-an-hour limit, mate. Okay. So it drops down and gets up to speed quite nicely. I'm going to push that G button and see what happens. Ah, interesting. I have an idea, I think I know what it is. It only seems to do it when you're stationary. So I wonder if that's a gyroscope thing to help you keep it upright. So here we go, gently round. Again, you can feel that weight. Something to get used to, that's all. And here we go. And up to speed quite nicely. Well, it's definitely smooth and comfortable and well balanced at 70 miles an hour. The gear change is actually pretty smooth. You don't really feel it very much. I had heard it's a little bit jerky, but doesn't feel it. See, that's quite smooth. That's smooth. Yeah, I quite like that. Well, it's something I could easily get used to, even though it is a scooter and I'm a biker. It's surprising. I thought I was going to hate it. I don't love it, don't get me wrong, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's enjoyable, it's comfortable. If you're not confident with gears, you've got the speed-ish, you've got the power, enough to keep you up at the speed limit and beyond if you want to. And yeah, it's quite an enjoyable bike actually. It's very comfortable on your anus. And relaxing. The suspension does a good job on these not so smooth roads. Got no complaints on the suspension side, no complaints on the ride. My only complaint, I would say, would be it does seem to lack something in terms of excitement when you're accelerating. It does pull quite well, but it doesn't pull your arms off, and for a 750 you kind of would expect your arms to be pulled off, but it gets up to speed very nicely, smoothly. That's the thing, very smoothly. What I'm going to do is try turning the road in this narrow road and see if I can do it without putting my feet down. Not a chance. No, not a chance. It doesn't have the turning circle for one. There's a little bit of weight to it when you're pushing backwards, but nothing drastic. So I've just stopped for a second to have a look around. Now, interestingly, it's got a handbrake here. Pull it, pulls the handbrake on, and then pull it back to release. I found out that the G button here is gravel. So basically what that means is you push that and you get extra engine braking if you want to take the bike off-road. And then you can adjust your traction control to either 1 level, 2 level, or off, depending how daring you're feeling. If you want to open the seat, push the button here. I've got to turn it on maybe. Okay, maybe not. Oh, seat and fuel has to be in the middle. Okay. Well, that opens the petrol cap. Oh, push it down. I was not pushing hard enough, and that opens the seat. So, okay. I mean, it's decent size. It's not mammoth, but you know, it's not that style of scooter, is it? But it's a decent size. You can get a full face helmet in there by the looks of that quite easily. Under here you've got nothing, battery, a USB, not USB, a 12 volt supply in there also. And then push it down. Is it a push or a whack? It's a whack, right, okay. So I just wasn't pushing hard enough on that. I thought it was electric, but it's not. You have to physically release it with a push. So you've got a nice looking exhaust on there. It's certainly a funky looker, isn't it? This is adjustable with the turn thing at the side here, so you can adjust whether you want that up or down. Clearly this one happens to have Oxford heated grips on it, not standard of course. And for those of you wondering what this is, it isn't a brake reservoir. It's got blue liquid in it, and that, when I followed the thing down, that's for a chain oiler or a Scott oiler. So that comes down and just oils the chain, because yes, it's chain driven of course, not belt driven. So there we go, quite a funky looker, isn't it? I mean, everything about it says scooter, but it also says bike, so it's got the mix of a bike and a scooter down really, really well. The look is quite funky for what it is. The side look, again, quite funky. I like the exhaust design, even though that is standard. It looks okay. It's got a decent sound to it. It's quiet, obviously, because Euro 5 and all that nonsense. This one actually comes with a Kappa top box as well, very similar to the Givey one, to be fair. So yeah, that comes with it on this bike. But other than that, there's nothing to dislike about it, other than it's not as rapid as I thought it would be for a 750, but it is very, very smooth in its acceleration. So one additional feature I do want to point out is that on here you've got an AM. That's the auto or manual button. You can change to manual gears, although it's not really manual, it's semi-automatic. So you've got your plus up here and you've got your minus down there to change up and down gears, and I have to say it's a lot smoother on the dash. You just see numbers change. Other than that, there's not a massive difference between the two, other than it's a lot smoother, I would say, in manual than it is in auto. Right then, so here we go. I have noticed the oil light's on this, and the service light is on it, but it's yet to have, not service light, the engine management light, but it's yet to have a service. So I'm sure that'll be sorted out once that's gone in for its service, so ignore that for now. I have checked the oil, and there's enough oil in it for me to do a quick test ride. Certainly not low, it's just a overzealous Honda, I think. But anyway, instantly I can feel this is more rapid, even though it's the same engine. I have to say, once I had it in sport mode on the ADV, if I give it the beans off roundabouts, it does go quicker and it does feel more rapid. It holds it in gear a lot longer in auto mode, in sport mode, so it does have that, which is great if you want to keep going, but if you just want to blap it off a roundabout and then slow down again, you want to pop it into drive, I would say. Now this, yeah, I mean, it's got the same sort of pull, to be fair, same sort of power, doesn't feel any quicker. The seat is not as comfortable. Visibility wise, I've got pretty much exactly the same, about 85%, maybe 88%, a tad more, I would say. That's not me being facetious. Yeah, I've got slightly less visible arm in the mirrors, but it's negligible, I'll be fair. Ride wise, I just feel better. I feel as though I can control a bike more than I can a scooter. Not that I can't control a scooter, but I just feel more comfortable in controlling the bike. And the balance, and the top end balance, the weight distribution, I would say feels better for me on a bike than it does on a scooter. But if you're used to riding scooters, then that wouldn't really bother you. You just have to counter for the extra weight of a 750 scooter over a 125 or a 300 scooter, I would say. But the balance around corners and pulling off roundabouts feels better on this than it does on the ADV, I would say, for me. But that's because I'm used to bikes more. If I was used to scooters more, in fact, to be fair, if I was used to scooters more, that scooter probably would feel absolutely fine, but this would feel lighter, I would say. So we'll see how it feels coming off this roundabout. Again, you can instantly feel there's a big difference in the seat. This is not as comfortable as the ADV scooter. That is definitely more comfortable. You've got different switch gears on this as well, not as fancy, a bit more basic. I mean, yeah, it definitely feels rapid and more flickable than the scooter does, a lot more flickable. So for me, the bike is not about speed, I would say. It's more about how rapid it picks up, how flickable and light it is, and this feels easier to ride for me as a biker than the scooter does. Not that the scooter's difficult to ride, but you can feel as though there's more weight in the corners, so you can't pull it round. You can't pull it round a roundabout. Sorry, it's my wife going the other way. And she waved to me, which means she saw me. Unbelievable. She's not usually that observant on the road. She's usually concentrating on where she's going. She obviously saw a bike and thought, I wonder if that's him. And it is. And bearing in mind we live 10 miles away, that's quite impressive for her. Well done. Not that she watches this. What the hell is that? I don't even know what that is. What is it? Is it a Honda? I don't honestly know. No idea what that is. If anyone can tell me in the comment section below, please let me know. Well, I haven't got a clue what that was. I know there's an MX-5 behind it, but what that was, no idea. Right, so again onto the dual carriageway. Oh, so much nicer going around corners for me. I will pull in and let all the people that want to do stupid miles an hour in a 40 do that. I mean, I know why they do it. They do it for this little farm entrance here, or warehouse entrance, but it's not necessary, is it? Oh, there you go, there's the MX-5. Right, 4th gear, pull away. Yeah, speed wise there's not a lot of difference between this and the scooter. I would say in sport mode the scooter is quicker. I've got more buffeting on this. My head has been knocked around in the blustery wind more on this than it is on the scooter. So the fairing and the windscreen does more on the scooter than this does. But then you've got that feeling of being on a bike on here, you know. And if you're a biker, the blustery wind and the buffeting doesn't really make a massive difference. So this is what we'll tell coming off the roundabout in 2nd gear, and we'll see how it fares going up the hill, going up to 70. Yeah, I mean, unsurprisingly they pull pretty much the same. Not a lot to choose between them in terms of power. Brakes wise, the ADV has better brakes, probably because of the twin discs you get at the front of the ADV over the single disc you get on this. So the scooter, I would say, has better brakes than this does. So it's interesting. I will say that it's definitely interesting to see a bike and a scooter with the same power, the same torque, the same engine, the same gears pretty much, other than a clutch, ride very differently. I prefer the ride of this in terms of its flickability and its ease to use. However, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, I think I prefer the scooter overall. No, that can't be right, surely. I mean, I want a bike and I'm a biker, so, you know, that's kind of how it works, isn't it? If you're a biker, you like bikes. If you're a scooterist, you like scooters, isn't it? I mean, everything's easy to use, everything's easy to manoeuvre and get around, but I like the feeting position on this. I think that helps. I've got a better feeting position on this bike. A feeting position? Foot position. Feet position. Right, let's have a look in terms of turning round. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the same. Not a lot of difference. Easier to push back, this is, than the scooter. Scooter was harder to push back, but this is easier overall, manoeuvrability wise. So then, in terms of the bike itself, I prefer the style of this, although I don't dislike the style of the ADVX. It's funky. This obviously has a bike look about it, more of an adventure-y, toury type bike. And now this particular bike, even though you've got the pannier racks and the top box rack, doesn't come with panniers or top box, this particular bike itself. But there is a price difference between this and the ADV, and I'll talk about that in a little while. Other than that, you've got the Givey protectors on there, and you've got the crash bars on here also. There's no belly pan on this particular bike. However, I was talking What's the horn for? Really? Well, you couldn't get past me? Now what I find interesting is that I stopped here with the ADV and a woman stopped and said, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" And I was just walking around the bike filming. So that was nice. And I just stopped here again with this bike and a guy went, "You alright, chap? Do you need a hand? You alright? You broken down?" "No, I'm fine, thank you." That's very nice. So I stopped with the bike at the side of the road and I'm talking to it and I'm just standing here and two people stopped and asked if I needed help. And that is fantastic. I like that. That's nice. Anyway, back to the bike. So yes, the fuel tank is under here. Now, if you use the key and turn it to the left, it opens the seat. You got like a little stand, like a bonnet, and there's your fuel filler there. And then you just push that up and push that down. If you turn it the other way, it opens this, and this is a storage unit. Big enough to put a helmet in, I would say. That's impressive. So that's quite deep. I would say you can probably get a full face helmet in that. It obviously depends on the helmet, of course. But that's impressive. You can certainly get a week's shopping in there, I would say. Well, maybe not a week. 3 days. Depending how many bananas you buy. But that, yes, I like that. Make use of the storage. Well done, Honda. That's pretty impressive, that. Now, I know this bike is, of course, 2 years younger than the ADV X. And I think you can tell. This has got an aftermarket Scorpion can on, so we can't tell what the standard exhaust looks like on this particular bike. Both stainless steel exhausts on both bikes. However, the switch gears look and feel a bit older. You've still got your traction control on here. The dash obviously is not as fancy. This is an added extra, I believe. Yes, it is. But overall, I do like the bike. It's a pleasant bike. It's not going to rip your arms off. It's not going to excite you in all the groovy ways, but it's a nice riding bike. So let's talk about a summary between the two, and then we'll talk about prices, etc, etc. Now, these bikes are very similar, as I say, in engine, gearbox, etc, etc, except they ride so differently. Personally, I prefer the overall ride of the NC, and I thought I was going to prefer this. The reason why I don't prefer this is because this is lighter and nimbler in corners, roundabouts, etc, etc. In terms of power, I think this has got the edge. There's not a massive difference in power in the way it delivers it. However, when you put it in sport mode and you can flick through the manual gears, it's just seamless. And I suppose in that terms, it doesn't feel very bike-like, because this, you're using all that oomph and you're changing gear and you're round and so this feels more exciting to ride than this does. However, neither of them are exciting bikes because they're not that style of bike. They're a sports tourer style, machine, adventure type thing. Off-road, I should imagine this is quite fun, whereas that would be useless off-road, of course, especially with those tyres on. But in terms of the two, I think I like the gadgets of this and I like the modernness of this, but I prefer the ride of that. Although it feels slightly older. I know it is a couple of years older, but it feels older, and that feels newer. But this is just nicer to ride, I think, if you're a biker. So how much are they? Well, the NC with 6,800 miles on the clock is £6,389. I don't think that's a bad price for a 2019 Honda NC750. As I say, I like the idea of this as well, the little storage cubby hole bit. That is an added feature that I really do like on this bike. So the storage on the NC is better than it is on the scooter. And what about the scooter? Well, it's £8,989, which only has 1,800 miles on the clock. That's not a bad price at all, I think, for this style of scooter and a 750cc. And if you're into scooters, or if you want something that you're not interested in gears, then this is definitely the one to go for over that, I would say. And it does feel that more modern, as I said a minute ago. Storage-wise, as I say, you do get the extra capper top box with this one, and you don't get the panniers or the top box with that. But that's if you like scooters. So the choice is up to you, really. So if you are interested in these bikes, take a look in the description below and you will see the links for this and for that, or pop along to Superbike Warehouse and have a look at them and hopefully take them out for a test ride, as long as everything is all in order, etc, etc. And that's about all I have for this video. If you are interested in these, then as I say, pop along to the links. If you're interested in anything else, or you want to see me ride something else, then please put that in the comments section also. I'll be back with something else very soon, as usual. Please like, subscribe and share this video. Don't forget to click the notification bell also. Any other comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out my social media also. And as I said, the links for the jacket that I was using today will be in the link in the description below as well. And that's all I've got to say. So until next time, please ride and drive carefully, but have fun. Bye-bye.